police.
Yeah.
I'm sitting there stuck in a cubicle working for people. I was like,
It's hard to
there's
go
no
to
fucking way, right?
Yeah,
So I'm like,
yeah.
So I would just sit there online and I was hunting down and poof, I find a couple hypnosis courses, certifications that are in the area. So,
Right.
it's a pretty funny story actually. It found me. So I decide to take
That's
this
cool.
course. I decided to take this course. I take my holidays. I take this course. So as I take this course, I'm dating. I was dating a certain girl at the time, Andrea, and we were going to move to Montreal. I was going to move to Montreal, the club, to DJ in the clubs, right? She was going to go to school, and I was going to go there to DJ the clubs, right?
Right.
So,
yeah. Which would have been sick too for a bit.
Oh yeah,
for a
right.
bit. Yeah.
I'm glad I didn't. I'd probably be lying in a ditch right now. But but anyway, so she signs up for school. We signed 2 apartments. Right, we both have good credit. Right?
Yeah,
we're both good. And so this was like back in November. So we go back up there in March just to make sure her application is sent in and that we get these places.
Yep.
And McGill says we don't even have your application.
Oh fuck.
So she doesn't have our application, and we get denied for both places.
Really?
Yeah, I couldn't. It was meant to be. Like I couldn't.
The universe couldn't have told you.
Right.
Yeah.
So at that time, I'd already quit my job. I'm like, peace. Right. I'm moving to Montreal.
Sure.
So now I'm back in London, and I'm back in London. I don't have a job.
Right.
I finished this hypnosis course.
Right.
So I'm like,
I think I saw you at that breakfast restaurant that one time because I was back from Sault Ste. Marie from pilot training at that time. I think.
Yep.
That place in the North End, it used to be like there was Crave Restaurant, and then there's the one beside, and I think you were with her at that time.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was with my mom, and I was like, man, I haven't seen you in forever.
Yeah, exactly.
So that must have been right around the time.
Around that time. Yeah, it was around that time. So here I am. I'm, I quit my job.
Yeah.
I just took this hypnosis course.
Yeah.
And we don't even really have a place to stay. So I end up moving back in with her, and I say, well, I might as well open up this practice.
Right.
So I open up the doors. I'm like, might as well give this a crack, right? I'm just freshly certified.
Right.
I didn't even know what I was going to do with it. I probably wouldn't have used it had I gone to Montreal.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean? I would have got lost in the nightclubs, right? So I open up, and people just started coming.
That's awesome.
It just kind of started happening, and it was working, and Did
you do any marketing at all at that point?
Barely any.
Really?
I got somebody to make me, I paid $300 for my website at the time.
Yeah.
They could contact me through my website. I got some brochures done, some business cards.
Yeah.
And I was sharing an office with a laser therapist, and it just started happening, and people were coming. So, yeah. It just happened.
That's wild, buddy.
Yeah.
That's phenomenal. So this was all kind of meant to be. It seems like, and I've known you for a while, and you always are the kind of person that you watch for the signs, and everything happens for a reason. I love that mentality, by the way.
Yep.
So when something like that happens to you and it starts flowing, you're like, okay, this is working. I'm going to build on this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Well, and I didn't realize at the time, but playing for when you're DJing and playing for big crowds of people, that's a good feeling.
It is a cool feeling.
It's a good feeling, right?
Too, kind of.
Right? So you're looking for it. But, if I think equally, if not better, is being able to put somebody in that hypnotic trance and help them so rapidly and quickly. Somebody to help them stop smoking or to remove their anxiety, their fears of flying or fears of all this different stuff. That's an incredible feeling too.
Yeah.
So
a more meaningful thing that you're doing.
Well,
really.
yeah, I'm actually helping people.
Yeah.
We used to have this joke back in the day where I was like, I'd go to the club and I'd be DJing and everyone would get messed up, and then during the week I'd bring them in and fix them. Right?
Yeah. But that's awesome.
So either way, I got you.
Double dipping.
I know. I got you.
Dipping. Yeah,
I got you.
I never thought of it that way.
Well, it was just a joke. It's not really what we do.
I know.
But you know what I mean? It's a joke to think that, I'm out in the clubs, everyone's drinking, then, you want to sober up? Come see me on Monday, right?
Sure.
But I really realized that it's a much more fulfilling thing.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So I started to doing hypnotherapy and
focusing your energy more so on that.
Yeah, absolutely. Doing it that and then training people. And then, eventually people started calling me and says, well, can you come do a demonstration or a comedy show? And I said, well, I don't do comedy shows.
Right.
And they're like, why not?
Right.
Like, I don't know. Maybe I should.
Yeah.
So I started doing them,
yeah.
right? So I started training, and I've been training nonstop, right? So
yeah.
I train with all these different people. So a lot of the money I put back into to learn the craft, and it wasn't just like a one course thing, right?
I remember you told me about that. You've gone into the US to do some seminars and stuff and crazy training.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've actually managed to even a lot of these really good hypnotists are starting to get a bit older. So I've gone and just like stayed at their house for a week and just trained one-on-one with some.
That's
right?
amazing, dude.
Yeah, you gotta like drain their secrets out of them, and some of them it's good to go to seminars, but one-on-one is good too. So I've been to the States several times.
Good for you.
Several times to get some training done for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I saw your show, so you can put people under fairly quickly.
Yes.
Yeah, I remember when we had this conversation. This was probably a few years ago now because we haven't seen each other in a while.
Yep.
But when you were telling me, like, when you were first starting out, and then at that time I saw you and it had been a while, and you're like, now, man, he's like, I just got them so quick, and and you were so passionate about the way that you spoke about it.
Yeah.
Which was really awesome to see that. Who was your trainer? When you said you got certified, who was the guy that certified you?
Well, there was
originally.
It was a woman on the other side of Toronto who was teaching a course that was developed by a guy in California.
Okay.
So I figured, well, if she's teaching the same thing,
might as well
it's
go
probably
closer.
best to maybe train with the guy himself. But I mean, I figured, like, I don't know.
Try it out.
I figured, I tend to catch on to things somewhat quickly.
Sure.
I like to, I guess, kind of, I don't want to say arrogant, but I believe in myself a little bit, right? So I thought, well, as long as you give me the material, I think I'll be able to get it, right? So I decided to just stay here. So I would drive from London to Toronto, the other side of Toronto, Friday, and then I actually met one of the students who let me stay at her place during the weekend, right? So I'd just drive each weekend for 3 weekends and just sit there and take it, right?
Yeah.
And that's kind of what happened. So that was the first course that I took.
That's a cool adventure in itself, man. Just met someone, stayed at her place.
Very well, she was like an older woman. She's like, well, my son's gone away to college, and I got a room. I'm like...
So you didn't hit it then?
No. I thought about it. No, I didn't. Come on. No.
Yeah.
So, it was cool that... I mean, I was getting a hotel the first weekend, and my intention was to get a hotel the other 2 weekends, but she's like, hey, you might as well sound like, yoink, why not, right? So I did that, and that was the beginning of the certification. Although I had I had read a few books, and I had a basic understanding.
Were the books that you were reading, was it Hypnosis or was it NLP? Because
Hypnosis.
I know that,
Hypnosis,
okay. Because a lot of people, I think, start with NLP, do they not?
Well, there's a lot of NLP is. I'm going to be certified in NLP very soon, teaching it, right?
Which is neuro-linguistic programming for people that don't know what that means.
Exactly. Yeah. So they're all kind of intertwined together, but the NLP is really good. It's very fast, techniques, and good for sales and stuff like that.
And picking up women, apparently.
Yeah.
Or men, or whatever your choice
whatever
is.
You're looking or both.
Yeah, absolutely.
But yeah, absolutely. But it was hypnosis what I did. Mine was a hypnotherapy. It was a course that...
so right from the beginning, you went hypnotherapy.
Exactly.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's what it was. I was taught how to take care of people's issues right off the hop, right? So...
And that interested you. You wanted to help people, like ever since you saw your friend quit smoking.
Well, like I said, I saw that married to the comedy hypnotist. I think that's what kind of got me into it. Right, was the comedy.
But you actually wanted to make it long lasting, and
well, I think it's just that's the course I took, right? So then I started thinking, well, like I said, I didn't even know what I was going to do with it because when I took it, my intention was to go to Montreal and go clubbing.
Yeah.
So as I took the course, I took it because that's the only one I found. It happened to be close by. So once I took that, and then Montreal didn't work, I was just kind of like almost like forced to do it. Not forced, but that's kind of like the only card I had left right now because I didn't have a place to stay, and I just quit my job, which was a good paying job, right? So I was like, okay, well, let's open up here and see what happens.
Yeah.
And so if you would have asked me way back in the day when you'd see me at Coco's that I was going to be a therapist, I would have pointed at you and laughed.
No kidding.
I mean, I need therapy. I'm not going to be the therapist. I need the therapy.
But when you say you need therapy, when you go and see these other hypnosis masters, I guess we can call them.
Yep, master
you
hypnotist.
get that therapy through them, right?
Every single time.
Yeah, you told me that you go train with these people and you get the therapy yourself to make sure that you're taken care of as well.
Every single time I do. So I always say, don't tell me, show me. Right?
Yeah.
So, and it's funny that I've met a lot of people in this profession that are afraid to go into hypnosis.
No shit.
And, some of these, I remember a wise master hypnotist once told me is that if you're not willing to go into hypnosis and experience it, then you have no business doing it to other people.
Yeah.
Whether it's on stage or whether it's therapeutically.
That makes sense.
If you don't do it, then you have no business doing it, right?
Yeah.
So
it's like you don't believe in what you...
Exactly, yes. You mean to tell me you have no problems? You're perfect? I mean, and we've always known, like, the best hypnotists are the ones that have used it to help themselves, right? Like, do you want to go to somebody who's read it out of a book or who's been through it?
Right.
Yeah. So I'm always show me, right? So every time, hey, hypnotize me. I don't mind if I have to pay. do it.
How many times do you think you've been hypnotized?
Well, by other people?
Yeah, or just in general. Oh, you hypnotize yourself too,
yeah,
right?
Man. I mean, I have my recording studio at home, and I make my own personal sessions, right? So there's several different ways to go in hypnosis. You can do it on your own, but for me, because I have a microphone and, you know, my Ableton and everything, I'll just record a session, plop the headphones on, and down I go. So how many times have I been hypnotized? Too many to count, buddy.
No shit.
It's like all the time, every day.
Is it every day?
No, not every day, but almost. Like I'm pretty consistent. I do it in waves, like we're talking about your juicer, right?
Yeah,
I'll do it all the time.
Phases.
Then I'm feeling good, and I just don't. And I'm working out, but you know, I do it as much as possible, one way or another. I usually lay my head down for 5 to 10 minutes at least, right, to at least center myself.
What do you try to do to reprogram your own mind? What kind of do you say to yourself? Walk me through like a hypnosis session and what you get out of it.
Well, you know, you could almost kind of consider it a guided meditation, right?
Right.
So there's different ways to go about it. So one, there will be limiting beliefs that I have that have been instilled inside me as a child, right? So where hypnotic regression can go back and we can kind of find out some of those limiting beliefs. So,
and we've had this talk about how a lot of these issues most of them stem at childhood, right?
For sure.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Because, you know, between the age of born and 5 years old, you're completely subconscious, right? There's no filter.
Right.
So you're learning everything for the first time. So everything that you're experiencing is getting right into your emotional mind. So there's nothing to guard it, right?
Crazy.
So to go back there and find out some of those limiting beliefs is huge, right?
Yeah.
So, you know, like one I just did, and again, we're talking about a little spiritual tip is, you know, when I was young, very young, you know, my parents would bring me to Catholic church, right?
Right.
And nothing against Catholic church, I guess, so let's not, don't bash me here.
No one will.
All I'm saying is that, you know, I was raised going through that, you know, if you don't do this or this, you're going to hell, right?
Sure.
So it felt like it was like something that you had to do. And, you know, so people walk away from that stuff because of that. So there's limiting beliefs that right off the hop, I mean, the 10 Commandments and all this stuff, it's game over from the get-go, right? So you carry a lot of guilt because you're not living the life you're supposed to be, or apparently that this spiritual or God, whatever you want to look at. So those limiting beliefs, you know, I've addressed, and that's part of what's really released me in sobriety.
Yeah, no shit,
man. That is huge, right? You don't realize it, that those were probably one of the biggest keys to my release to being sober.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. Because you're carrying around guilt and shame that you don't even know you've been carrying around since you were 1. Mm-hmm. You understand? Like 1 year old. Like
you just don't know.
But you do in hypnosis. So you can find it.
So how did that like these being a 1-year-old, how did that kind of sober you up? Like, explain that process to me.
Well, no, what happens is again, in my office, I'm doing hypnotic regression. I get to go back to the root of people's problems, which is always between the ages of born and 5 years old or so, right? So it gives me the opportunity to go back there and find some of those things. You know, it's like, you know, I can address those with myself. So it's kind of like when you go to an all-you-can-eat buffet, right? So you grab a plate, then another one pops up, right? Then you grab another one, pops up. So eventually, as you start working through them, you're getting lower and lower and back and back and back with hypnotic techniques. So you can go back there and remember and re-experience things. Like, you can remember what you heard.
No shit.
You know, all those things that happen there, it's in your mind. It's been recorded.
Yeah.
You just don't have access to it. But in hypnosis, we can.
Wow.
So it allows me to go back there and kind of remember some of the things that were said and done and what you heard and what you experienced and all this stuff. And you know, again, there's no way I would ever know this had I not been doing it to other people for 10 years, right? So then it helps me that way to do it too.
No kidding. So I didn't realize that. So there's obviously, when you start out, you still have to peel back layers to get all the way back there. So,
well, yes and no.
Yes and no, because I know you said you can fix people with certain things pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Right?
So you can go back there. You can definitely go back there right away.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty good at being able to go back and work on things at a young age. Right. We've all had like certain flashes of things that you'll remember when you were a kid, or certain things will remind you, right? So I'm pretty good at listening to that. So I don't. Is
a lot of it fear based when you're a child? Yeah,
for sure.
Okay,
it's either fear or love, right? That's what you're dealing with here. So it's usually a fear based, but you know, I'm pretty good at getting pretty far back. But you know, I'll get one. If you can get to the root of it, all the rest of them go, right. It's like killing the tree from a root. Once the root's done, you don't need to worry about the rest of the tree. It's done.
Right.
But sometimes it can be a little bit difficult. So one, you go to get someone else to do it for you.
Right.
Or you learn how to do it with yourself, which can sometimes take a little bit more time. But, I mean, you don't have to pay. You got all the time in the world with yourself, right? So you can do it in the morning, in the night, anytime. You don't have to go anywhere, right?
Sure.
So it's a win-win either way. Yeah.
No shit, man. Yeah. So that's phenomenal. Like it is mind blowing.
Yes.
So we talk about a lot of things with mental health on this show, and like anxiety, depression, suicidal thoughts, for instance.
Yep.
So when people come into you, and I'm sure you've experienced some of this,
for sure.
What is the root problem for a lot of this anxiety or for depression, and how do you deal with helping people, and how many sessions?
Usually it's not too many, right? Yeah. So anxiety is the number one thing I help people with. Right?
Really?
So that's